Okay, all videos will be, all the links to today's videos, they will be in our Telegram chat as well. Okay, so Masha, once again, thank you. And we are moving to the next speaker. And our next speaker today is Alexey Lebedev. I can see him. Okay, now let me make you co-host. Okay, and now let's see if you can talk and we can hear you and if we can see your slides, if everything is okay.
Well, I think I can talk. Hello,
yes, you can talk and well, and we can hear you. This is more important.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's try to change the slides because there have been some problem with changing slides today.
Just a sec. Just a sec. So it feels like everything is kind of frozen. Just
yeah, like a dark screen. Yeah, we can see a dark screen at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, everything was kind of frozen and it's still.
So you've got everything in Swedish.
Well, yeah. All of my office is in Swedish. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah.
You can check. Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, great. So, and Alexey today is going to talk about a game show with zero preparation. I like this part, zero preparation.
Well, we'll see whether it's really zero, but like to me it is zero, but probably not to everyone else. But I hope to convince everybody that it actually is. So we'll see whether I'm going to succeed in that.
Okay, let's greet Alexey with our smiles in the chat. Okay.
Okay, hopefully I can see the chat as well.
You can see the chart. Yeah. So, Alexey, nice. The floor is yours. Here we go.
Thank you so much. So, as it mentioned in the it's mentioned in the title, so I'm going to be talking about game shows today, and some of the activities that you can apply to your lessons. And to my mind, they actually require zero preparation. But again, it depends on how much into you are in the game shows and what you know about those. But I hope that I'm going to enlighten you a little bit on these concepts, and probably this will help you next week when you will apply these activities to your lessons. But before we get further, so I know that not all of you know who I am, so I'm going to present myself a little bit. So my name is Alexey. I'm freelance Swedish teacher, which you could probably see judging by my Microsoft Office and the actual Windows, which is all in Swedish. I've been working for 10 years now, and mostly I do one-to-one lessons, but I also have group lessons as well. I'm a founder of several projects for Swedish learners, where we learn Swedish by listening to songs and by producing monologues. I'm also a detective novels translator. Songs and game shows are my biggest passion, and we will be talking about one of these passions today. But unfortunately, or fortunately, probably not songs, but the game shows. Basically, if we talk about game shows, they can be very different concepts. Like there can be quizzes, that can be panel shows, which are very popular in Britain. Reality shows like Robinson, when some celebrities, some probably non-celebrities, can be taken to some sort of a deserted island, and there they can do different activities and challenges, and also comedy panel shows. And actually, the picture that is presented here is taken from the show Taskmaster, which is insanely popular in the UK. And some of the activities that I'm going to present today are taken from that show as well. So and as well, the question is how we can use these shows and the activities from them. We can actually watch the actual activities from the show and use it as a listening activity, or we can take the actual activities from the show and apply them to the lessons. And we will be addressing the second option today. And today I'm going to be showing you a couple of videos from these shows, so just to show you the concept, and then I will guide you through the way how to apply them to your lessons. Of course, there are an immense amount of these activities in these shows. Whatever you can see there can be applicable to your lessons, but I've taken just 3, and I will guide you through these 3. Probably they will help you to make your lessons even more colorful, even more diverse and variable. So the first the 3 activities that I'm going to be talking about today are, the first one is called Read My Lips. Probably you've heard about this already, probably you've practiced it, but I'm gonna show you my own take on that. Another activity is called Would I Lie to You, exactly as the panel shows in Britain. And the third one is called, it has 2 names actually. Are you an ethnicist? Have huge troubles pronouncing this word. And the all right, so basically the thing is that, again, why does it need 0 preparation? Because you can come up with, for example, a job or a thing that these students need to guess, or any word for that matter, and it actually takes, I don't know, a second, probably even less. So, this activity helps the students to practice general questions, and it goes quite naturally. And actually, what is even funnier here, the level doesn't really matter. I've tried it with A2 students, I've tried it with C1 students, and whatever level it is, it's hilarious all the time. Of course, you can start with the showing an example, and the small twist that is provided in this activity is that you, or the person that is whose word or whose profession or whatever you're guessing, should always lie. And that actually gives an extra boost to the brain to work a little bit extra. So so while you are doing this, so you can have your students collaborate, so they can, for example, note down the facts that you are providing them with. You can only say yes or no. You can also nod or shake your head, depending on what you want, depending on how you want to assemble this. And if they are stuck, of course, you are allowed to give a real hint, not lying, just a real hint if it is needed. And then after having done that, you can have your students come up with the same thing, and you can guess all together whether these words or professions, jobs, whatever you want. And why is it called Karate Old Guy? Because the same show exists in Sweden. It's called Bästa Test, and the role of this guy whose job is going to be guessed is played by this karate old guy. In Swedish, it's called Karate Gubben, and basically, so that's the guy who is doing that. So that's why it's called Karate Old Guy in Swedish, or Karate Gubben. So let's just have a look at how it was done in the UK. So you see, but actually, if we take a look at the program, so the other contestants were they took it much longer. So for them, so it also may be hilarious just to watch, but then it can take a longer time for your students to do it. So again, you can just adjust the timing when needed. So to sum it all up, so be open with your students in terms of choosing the facts, for example. So I think that your students might appreciate it. And again, you don't have to think a lot about this. Any interesting fact from your life will do. There is always reason not to speak and not to voice anything. So if you want your students to either be better at reading the lips or just at articulating better, so you can just read everything or speak voicelessly and have the others guess what they're doing, and be creative with 0 preparation. If you want to come up with a very specific thing for the task with guessing and lying all the time, so why not? It can take into any level you want. If you want to talk to me more about these activities or the others, you can find me anywhere in these channels. So Instagram, I'm the most active at, and I'm going to probably be more active on my Telegram now. It's called Berloga Pedagoga. You can just find it, or you can follow the link. I'm more than happy to answer your questions if you have any in the chat or later in these social channels. Thank you so much for your attention, and have a great conference further ahead.
Okay, thank you, Losha. And let's give a round of applause to Losha either in the chat, or you can switch on your videos and clap your hands. Again, we've got lots of reactions. Thank you, just brilliant as usual. Okay, thanks for being with us. And please, if you have a chance, share your materials with our participants in our Telegram chat. And so, guys, if you still can't, if you are still not there, just join the chat where we put all the information and all the videos will be there. Okay, and what actually is going on now? I am done as a host today, and I pass it over to a very experienced host, an English teacher, teacher trainer, and the founder of EFL Talks, Rob Horvath. Rob, hi. Okay, I will make you the host. Now he will do everything he wants to do with you. Okay. Rob, if you can make me a co-host, that would be great, just in case.
No, I have control. I'm going to do what I want.
Okay, Rob will be here with you for the next, I think, 2 hours or so, and I'm really grateful that he supports our initiative, and Rob has spread the word about this free conference among his followers on Facebook. I don't know if you are on Instagram. Okay, then probably I don't follow you on Instagram, on Facebook.
I never put anything there.
Okay, so don't like taking photos. Probably. Okay,
I'm shy.
Shy, yeah, too shy. Yeah. And so Rob will introduce all the next speakers, and we still have got lots of speakers today. And once again, thank you to all our speakers who, just send a message and everybody said yes. And many speakers, they just wrote to me saying, okay, can I take part in the conference? I'm ready to share some information. And this is, okay, we are really grateful to all of you for this support and just for getting all together. And well, it's easier just to work and to learn something when we are in these troubled times. Okay, so and Rob is going also to give a talk today, and he will be talking about 3 for all. 3 for all, exploring different registers. Okay, so a very complicated title actually, but I think, yeah, we will understand what it's all about when you are done with your talk. Okay, actually, Rob, now the floor is yours.
Great.
And I can breathe out. Okay.
Relax. You've done a wonderful job, and I would like to get everybody to turn on their camera and give a big round of applause for Elena for putting this together. It's a great initiative, and she really has thrown together something wonderful very quickly. So she deserves it. Great. Okay. Now enough of her and on to me. No, I'm kidding. All right. So let me just bring up my slides. And let's see. I've got 2 computers going here. Let me monitor the chat over there. And great. So, welcome and thanks for taking the time to listen, and thanks for being here today. I'm Rob Howard, and you heard a little bit about me. I've been teaching for about 20 years, most of it online. Majority of what I teach these days is business English. I'm the joint coordinator of the IATEFL BSIG, the Business English SIG, but my true love was teaching teenagers in face-to-face classes, which unfortunately I can't do right now. So what I came up with is something that I've been doing for years, because I've always found we work a lot on conversation. I don't think we work enough on writing. And this is what I want to talk about today, is working on your students' writing. And again, I'll show you later on with some of the topics. This could be for adults, it could be for business English, but it's also for lower levels. It's also for younger ages, and it's adaptable. Sorry for the voice. So, register. Is everybody familiar with the word register? And I don't mean cash register. Just type in the chat. Give me a Y or a plus. Good. Ekaterina, nice. Good. Well, it's talking about the degree of formality in language. And this is something that we don't always work on when we're working with course books and when we're working within a syllabus, because we don't have time to talk about the different levels of formality. Now, it could be formality. It could also be the language within a given group. For instance, we have our own language here as teachers. We talk about methodology. We talk about all different things. We talk about fluency, accuracy. So we have our own specific language within our group. Now, linguists say there are 5 common speaking registers. These are called frozen, which I thought was a Disney movie, formal, consultative, casual, and intimate. But it's kind of accepted that there's 3 common writing registers. And these are the registers I want to work on today. And they're formal, neutral, and informal. Now, formal is normally used for things like business correspondence, business emails, reports, whether it be for business or even a school report, most essays, and speeches. We use formalized language, and some of the rules for formal language: you're not supposed to use contractions. Any numbers that we use under 100 should be spelled out instead of using the actual number. We normally talk in third person. We don't talk about I. And we avoid the use of the passive voice. So most of what we use is active. And within our writing in formalized, we don't start sentences with and, but, also, and so. Now, moving on to neutral. Let me fix the voice. Neutral is used more often in technical writing. It's used for articles, whether they be articles for the newspaper or for any kind of magazine. They're used for reviews, reports, and other types of essays. Now, with neutral register, it's neither formal nor informal. And it's neither negative nor is it positive. So the information in the writing should be factual. And because we're not negative or positive, it should be non-biased and it should be non-emotional. Moving on to informal, this is more for personal email, notes, text messages, blogs, personal letters, chat rooms, things that we do on a daily basis, usually when we have informal relationships with people and groups that we're talking with. And basically in informal, there's no rules. Where in the others, we shouldn't use slang, we shouldn't use idioms. In informal, we can use anything we want. In fact, these days, quite often, we don't even need to use words. So informal has changed a lot. And it's important that the students understand the difference between these registers. When to use them, how to use them, and what the rules are. And I don't think we work enough with this. So what I've come up with and what I've done for years, I call it a three-for-all. I used to call it a threesome and people got upset. But what you're going to do is you're going to have your students, in my case business, they write to 3 different people in 3 different registers. For example, if you're dealing with adults that have jobs, they're writing to their boss. They write to their mother, and they write to their best friend. Now, if you're dealing with teens or you're dealing with students, change boss over to teacher or maybe the director of the school or course. Quite simple to change. So, they're going to write 3 different essays. And depending on how much time and how in-depth you want to get, you set the parameters, whether it be just a short paragraph or whether it be a full page. I like to do at least about 3/4 of a page because this makes them push, and this is for each one. Now, it's very important with this to be clear on the directions. And you have to tell them they need to follow the rules of formal, informal, and neutral. And that they're basically going to take the topic that they were going to talk about and talk about this 3 times. Best way to do this is to show them what your expectations are. And I really love the use of modeling, and I think it's very important. Show them exactly what it is you want. And what I have here is an example. I'll read it just in case it's too small. Dear Mr. Howard, after 9 years of working here at this job, I find that it is no longer a challenge to me, and I have decided to leave to start a reggae band. I wish to tender my resignation effective immediately. Thank you for your support over the years and for understanding my desire to leave the company. Best regards. And this is actually true because I did quit my job to start a reggae band years ago. So, this obviously is formal. You see, we don't have contractions. We're spelling out 9. We're using formalized language. Now, I have to tell my mom this. Dear Mom, I know that this might shock you, but I can't stand my job anymore. Also, I've decided that 9 years of that boring place is enough. I have given my notice to Mr. Howard, but Dad is not very happy about me leaving to start a reggae band. See you soon, with love. Now you notice how the register has changed, but I'm telling the same story. Let's move on to the next one. Obviously, informal. Dude, The reggae band's a go. I'm stoked to kick off the band next week. I can do it because I quit that job I've been mooching off of for 10 years. I almost puked getting up the balls to tell my old man I was leaving, and he is pissed about it. So I'll be sleeping in your basement for now on. Smell you later, bro. So you can see, again, we've become a lot less formal. I'm using emojis. These are things that'll come across in text. I'm using really foul language. Would I do this to my mother? No, she'd smack me in the head. Would I do it to my boss? I have, but unlikely. So, by showing some examples like this, and write up your own, model what you want done. Now, for some topics, here's some topics that you can give. These are for business people right here. The letter could be about, I'm quitting my job. I'm moving to the U.S. I'm starting my own business. I want more money. I'm burnt out. I just need a break. Or I need help with a certain project. These would be typical things that people could write about and can easily change the story using 3 different registers. Now, if you're just talking with regular students or teens, here's some other ideas. I'm being bullied. I'm having trouble in math. I'm having problems seeing the board well, my eyesight. I don't like my teacher, or I love my teacher. I saw someone cheating. I'm failing school. So just to give you some basic ideas, but the best thing yet that I love when working with groups is I give them my ideas, but I have them come up with ideas. Make them give you the suggestions about what they're going to write about, because this gives them ownership in the project, because they've picked the subject. After these are all written, there's a lot of different things you can do. They can get up, they can make a presentation and read them with the group. You can trade them off with partners to do correction. You can, of course, collect them all and correct them yourself. A lot of work. You can have discussions. What would you have said differently? What was good about it? What didn't follow the rules? How could it be even more formal or less formal? So they really give you a lot that you can do right off the bat. And you can walk into your next classroom on Monday and do this. And I hope you try it. Now, I do this usually 2 or 3 times within a semester. Because remember, as we're going along, they're learning more about the language, more about structure, more about vocabulary, and they're becoming more fluent and more confident. So I like to do this at different times so they can get practice, and so it really sets in what register is and how they're going to work with it in the future. So it really is a relatable and, I feel, an essential life skill. And all I can say with that is happy writing. And I went fast. So if you have some questions, let me stop sharing. And questions, comments. If you want want to turn on your mic, if you want to talk, raise your hand. Yeah, this is really great. All I'm seeing here, let me look at the other chat. Yes, Maria. Definitely, it's great with business English students, and it gets even better when you get into teaching adults, because they're all working professionally too. So it's really great, but it's really nice for teens too. I found that teens can be more creative than adults, and they'll enjoy that. I see Ekaterina has a hand raised. Bear with me for a second while I find you. And we have so many Ekaterinas. Oh, there you go. Can you unmute? There. Yeah. How about
Yeah.
that? There you
Rob,
go.
hi. Yeah, thanks. Thank you so much for your talk and for covering this topic of register. It's really my favorite one too. I have just a quick question regarding your attitude towards that, because you gave this kind of cliched situation, the boss, like the mom and the friend, yeah?
Yeah.
But what's your opinion towards using, let's say, informal register when talking to your colleagues and even to your boss, if the company requires so? If it's, let's say, company's culture, there are modern companies that kind of impose these new regulations, or you recommend sticking to the official recommendations, that formal is for formality, for job, informal is for friends. What's your attitude towards that?
The really simple answer, it depends. So it's exactly this. If, I've worked in large corporations which were extremely formal, wearing suit and tie, everything else. And everybody back then, this is back in the 80s, we were still calling each other Mr. Howard. So it was extremely formal. There, of course, the formality is important. Now, talking to colleagues, it depends. You and I just met. I don't think I would go any lower than neutral.
Mm-hmm.
But we've known each other for years. I think we can slip to informal, but there's a caveat. Because I don't think you have it here, but being from the US, you have to be extremely careful what you say to people, not only because of things being construed as sexual harassment, but I could say to you, for instance, that's a lovely shade of lipstick you have on. What's it called? I'd like to buy that for my girlfriend. Harmless, right? But let me see. Natalya overheard this, and she complained to the boss. It made me very uncomfortable. It seemed creepy. And you know what? I'm probably out of a job. So, depending on how things change, and they are changing, I see some of this coming into Europe. Eventually, I'm sure it's going to make it into Russia. Be very, very careful with informal and how informal you get.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
Thank
stay
you.
here, because I'm going to turn you on. Let me see. Natalya has a question or a comment. Natalya, are you... I'm having a problem with my mouse here. Natalya, you can unmute.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello, Robert. Thank you for your presentation. I'm a journalist, and I obviously work with writing every day. And I have a question. I'm also a teacher, and I have a question. How, here I am, is it possible to develop speaking skills with writing, through writing. How do you think?
Yes, I think so. And actually, one thing that I do with my business students, because most of them are doing some types of presentation, whether it be sales, whether it be customer service, whether it be their program managers and have to discuss things with clients, I actually have them write out their conversations beforehand, because this gives them a way to practice. They'll practice the same thing. Now, they don't have to memorize word for word, but having a text there ready builds up their confidence because they already have worked out what they're going to say.
Is it helpful to learn by heart? How do you think?
Yes and no. Some things need to be learned by heart, but some things have to be free. You know, if I sat here and said everything perfectly, I may as well read a script, but that's not what I do. So I have an idea of the script in my head because I've worked it out beforehand. And so it's coming off naturally when really I'm making this all up as I go. But a lot of this is because I've worked these chunks of conversation out before. So I would say both. Everything depends in English.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. And let's see. Let me just check the chat. Oh, thank you. Can I recommend sources? Yeah, actually, offhand, I don't know of anything that covers register offhand. So if anybody else can think of something, that'd be great to put in the chat. I'm sure there is stuff out there. Everybody's written books about everything. I've just worked with it, you know, doing it naturally. My background is sales and communication. So for me, I had a good idea what I was getting into to start. Any other comments? And yeah, you know, I'm supposed to remind you, materials should be shared in the Telegram channel, and the video should be there later. So, you know, if you can, if you know of any materials that cover register and writing and speaking. Oh yeah, email English by it. Very good. Thank you, Ekaterina. So if you can think of any others or you come across them, put them in the Telegram chat. Okay? Let's all help each other. So let's see, how are we doing it on time? Well, I guess what I'll do is I'm going to get Ekaterina back here and introduce you. And lower your hand. You can unmute. I'm going to... Oh, you're already co-host. All right. Wait a minute. Bear with me. I have a broken mouse, and I have to get to the store to buy a new one today. All right.
Yeah, that's working.
Now we got it. Thank God I have a touch screen. Okay, the mouse just goes.
I had something similar today in the morning. I was thinking how I'm going to make it with some kind of broken touchpad, but it seems to be working now. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll trade you your broken touchpad for a broken mouse.
No, I'm not going to take it.
All right, so I have nothing to say to introduce you other than here's Ekaterina. And you can share your screen. Try sharing. Let's make sure everything works.
Yeah. Oh, just a sec. No, not this. I think I can share it. Let me share my presentation. Do you see my screen?
I see your screen. Just hit F5 and go into your presentation.
Communication strategies. Is that what you see on the first slide? Yeah.
Yes. Communication strategy. Well, you're not in the presentation yet. You're showing the whole PowerPoint. So
Are the slides moving now?
no.
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 Okay. Okay.
Are you on?
Now it should be fine.
Oh, there you go. Now try it. Move ahead one quick and then back one. Okay, back. There you go.
Fine, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you. Take it away.
Thank you. Well, hi everyone. I'm happy to be here with you today, and it was not easy, but I decided that I'm also here to share what I think can be useful for teachers and trainers. Teachers, let's say, mostly, of course, for adults, as that's what I've been doing. And communication strategies is the topic that I've been covering for my individual students, my business groups, and multinational corporations when we speak about training the team to start off, to take part in negotiations, to build successful relationship, long-lasting relationship, not only based on business, but also based on mutually beneficial relationship where like both partners respect each other. And we know that the language is one of the strongest tools. And when we do not possess the language properly, that may lead to very unpredictable consequences, and very strong negative results. For example, even stopping cooperation, between companies because of some wrong words. And actually, picking up on what Rob said, today I will be covering the topic of how to begin a conversation and how we can teach our students to do that. I will just share how I do that, and hopefully you will find it useful or probably practical. My name is Ekaterina Chegnova. I'm the academic director of StarTalk Language School. It is based in Moscow. Of course, we also have, after pandemic, we have a big online sector as well. And I'm not only the director, but I'm the teacher and the docent of Moscow State Pedagogical University. I'm teaching young teachers over there, and that's my mission. That's what I really love doing. Instead of, let's say, administrative work, I really adore communicating with people and kind of giving my value, my contribution to teachers to make them kind of more probably successful and just feel easier in delivering the new messages of the world. And the message I would like to start with is actually taken from the conference that I visited already about 3 years ago, or even more, that was devoted to teaching English in modern world. And there were a lot of representatives, teachers, academic directors from Russia. And, we had a meeting with the author of Business Partner book, one of the authors. It's a New Line by Pearson. And I still remember his words so strongly when he was saying that just remember that the world is changing, their priorities are changing. And even if your teachers' hearts are bleeding, when you still have to understand that making mistakes in modern world is okay. It's better than keeping silence. It's better than being afraid to say something. And it's really better than having a strong language barrier, like many of our Russian students have. And that's my motto right now. When I start teaching my business English students, I tell them, make mistakes, that's fine. Fluency is #1 priority. Yeah, it is hard to understand. Yes, it probably a little bit kills the idea of our job, but when they are allowed to make mistakes at the lesson, they probably feel a little bit more confident at their meetings where they at least finally have the guts to say a word, yeah? Then number 2 principle of modern approach is that you have to say it. Like you can't always roll it in your head. You can be like, oh, what should I say? Is it present simple or present perfect? Oh my God, what modal verb is better here? I mean, it's fine to, of course, consider that at the lesson, and that's why we are learning, right? But at the same time, it's important to say it. It's important to train and practice your articulation. So that's why the more you say it, the more confident you're gonna feel. And finally, obviously, there are cliches that refer to especially business culture, how we start the meeting, how we greet our partners, how we start online call, how we end online call, what we put at the beginning of a letter, what we put at the end of a letter. These are all cliches. And in this case, my strong recommendation is just to repeat them. So let's say you say it, you are not afraid of making mistakes, and you repeat cliches that just as many times as you possibly can. So of course, European students, they may like find it weird because for them making mistakes is fine, is part, they speak a lot of languages. That's why, of course, they treat it just as, I don't know, as something obvious. But I think you agree with me that for Russian market, this approach is still not well accepted everywhere. And the topic that is part of any communication strategy, in my opinion, is small talk. Because yes, everybody knows about that. Everybody knows that before we get down to discussing some business relationship or conflict that arose among colleagues or maybe cross-functionally, we know that we do not have to rush into the topic immediately. And that doesn't depend on the level of language we have or our students have. Sometimes when they fail during negotiations or meetings, they think that it is because of their language. I believe that for us as teachers, trainers, as communication experts, it is our goal to explain to them that it's not only about the level very often, it's about the cultural level too. And for example, this so-called small talk, yeah, this small jokes, this small off-topic discussions that we may have for 2-5 minutes before we get down to business, they sometimes may play a crucial role in reaching mutual understanding. And so what I always do at my lessons, no matter how tough the timing is, and for example, I know that today we're having like a huge text, or maybe we're having exactly this writing activity in correspondence, because I do adore this register thing as well. We always start with a small talk. And by small talk, I mean that this so-called waiting time. Pay attention what happens to you, for example, when your online lesson begins or offline lesson begins. Do you guys talk, or do they poke in their phones and you know, just wait for others? Do they have their cameras on or off? Because, for example, the teacher is not here yet, or the group is not here yet. Or do they small talk? That's first sign. Pay attention, because actually what they should be doing, they should be taking part in small talk to develop this skill. In Russia, it is not automatic. We are not trained to speak to unknown people. And especially if there is a new person in your group, believe me, this person feels super uncomfortable because, well, they don't have any idea what to say, yeah, to the people who they see for the first time. And the famous Russian strategy, it's here on my slide. That's what I joke about all the time. Well, over here, by the way, I usually ask my students, like, give me situations where you think it is appropriate to do small talk. Today, we don't have time for that. We're very limited. So I'm just showing kind of how it works in my understanding. So I'm telling them that in Russia, we prefer the strategy just to smile and say nothing. That's our very famous strategy. And only when, for example, somebody approaches us, we may start a conversation. And what happens is that people who are learning English, they start traveling, they start joining conferences, offline, online, but they do not know how to make contacts. They do not know how to start a conversation in a cafe. They don't know how to talk to a reception, not only give me the towel, please, but something else, right? We just don't have it by nature. That is why this skill should be additionally trained. And what I do, I explain, first of all, where we actually need this idea of small talk. So conferences, 100%, and this small talk will eventually lead to networking skills, to establishing contacts, to follow up, so it's a separate topic, but nevertheless the basis is the ability to small talk with people you don't know. Meetings, as I said, first 2-4 minutes, essentially it is essential to organize this small talk activity a little bit, to be ready for that while we are waiting. So if we have somebody who is, for example, late, we don't wait in silence in English. We have to talk. We have to discuss the topics that are common for small talk. Delays. So if the meeting is delayed, if the lesson is delayed, we use it for small talk. And telephone calls, that's also definitely not bad. So moving on to the topics. I believe there are 6 strategies of small talk. Today, I'm going to share with you like the basic strategies that I usually deliver. Obviously, it is weather, but as we speak about small talk, we need to remember that it's not about the weather and your attitude in reality, but that is like, just as I call it, this ping pong thing. So when you are ready to make a comment without involving a person into real conversation. And what I mean is that it's a statement and a comment. This is what needs to be practiced. Let me show you. For example, a foreigner or you may just approach a person and say, "Oh, the weather is amazing today, isn't it?" Very often, the comment that follows from a student is the following: "Yeah," or "mm-hmm," or yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And the thing is that it's not engaging anyhow the other person, right? So you have to understand that simply saying yeah, it's keeping the ball on your side. Is not going to provoke any further discussion, especially if the statement came from a stranger, for example, in the line to Starbucks or in the hotel lobby. And our students pay us for our lessons, right? But then they travel and they simply answer yeah to a foreigner who is probably interested in talking. And so what I recommend trying and practicing at the lesson, and I actually do have the book that I can recommend where it is given, we try that. Look, I teach my students to pay attention to the adjective that is used in the original statement. So, it's good weather today, isn't it? And the reaction should be not just yeah, or no, it's really bad, no. The reaction should be using a synonym or an antonym to this very adjective. Why? Because by doing that, you actually discuss nothing. You are only checking on each other whether or not you are really both ready to talk. So it's great conference, isn't it? Yeah, it's not bad, is it? And this is the task I'm using. See? If somebody wants to try, you can, for example, suggest some adjectives over here, but I do that, of course, orally with my students at the lesson. And look, so it's an amazing conference. Yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? So by saying that, by using this tag question, our students learn to get engaged, to show that, yeah, they are ready, they are open. And this thing can be initiated by our students too, because it's safe. I think that breaking the ice questions are amazing, but it's weird to start your conversation like that with a total stranger, for example, in the elevator. You probably cannot turn to a person and say, hello, where are you from? That's gonna be weird, right? But you definitely can say, it's great weather today, isn't it? And by the person's reaction, you may see whether or not they are ready to speak to you. So this is a great strategy to feel whether or not the person is open for conversation. And then, yeah, we can show all the beauty of our language, right? But not directly, yeah? Not by direct questions, only by inviting. And so what I'm saying is that such exercise with using antonyms or synonyms and tag questions helps the students to practice that. So they are supposed to do it 3 times about the situation around, about their day, about their mood, about the weather, and that's how they certainly reach the point of what small talk is, yeah, what it is about and what goal it has. And so over here, this task helps to at least start it. But obviously, we can't say that it's only commenting on the weather. Obviously, there are many more ways how you can start a conversation. And Rob today mentioned my lipstick, which is actually surprisingly also covered in my topic, because I have, I see that my time is finishing, but anyway, I hope I will manage to finish. So, dear teachers, please look. What do you think, which situation, which complement is appropriate to start a conversation, or let's say in a context where we don't know the person who we are addressing to? So number 1, I loved your presentation, or number 2, you have a really pretty smile, or both. Could you please vote in the chat? Number 1, I mean on the left, number 2 on the right, or both. So which ones are appropriate for this small talk thing? Yeah. When I do this voting with my students, 3rd year students from pedagogical university, they very often say both. So young people have their own idea of borders, yeah. And what may seem obvious to us as teachers, yes, as professionals, actually is not super obvious to others. That is why, yeah, I fully agree that you probably shouldn't start your compliment and start a conversation with a stranger, complimenting on the smile or anything connected with appearance. So this is something we are naturally born with, right? But complimenting on the look, I mean, the bag, the shoes, even nail polish. You can't imagine how many times I heard compliments to my nail polish in America. I've been to America 14 times, and only after I, got the point of small talk, I started having much more conversations in Starbucks and on other places, because I started reacting to compliments, not simply by, oh, thank you, when somebody complimented me on my nail polish, but I was exactly complimenting back, yeah? So I love your shoes, oh, thank you, and I love your hairstyle, and I love your bag, and I love your watch. So compliments can be very safe, but they are very strong tools in starting a conversation. I think you agree with me that for Russian people, it is not natural. We really don't start a conversation by complimenting each other if we don't know each other. I mean, we do, but rather rarely. So knowing this, practicing this can really work. What I do after I give this theory, and after I explain other strategies, such as commenting on something around that you see, because we all find ourselves in the same room, in the same place, in one country when we're traveling, or finding something in common, if it's, for example, conference on teaching or conference on marketing, right? Or like disclosing a little bit about yourself. For example, like Rob did, yeah, he said, my mouse is not working. Well, and I said, my touchpad is not working actually either. So kind of these things, they help to break the ice better than direct questions. What I do then, I pair them up and I force them to talk, not just simply kind of, okay, hi, I need your contact, but they start playing this small talk game. I tell them to do it 3 times. Compliment, comment on the weather, find something in common, and then I tell them, okay, now you can get in touch in Instagram, in Facebook, in Vkontakte, doesn't matter, just exchange your contacts. And I really force them to make contacts because I think that's what's valid. That's what makes groups last forever. I have some groups that are with me for like 4 years. Of course, I mean, they're changing sometimes, but still, it's cool when the atmosphere at the lesson is closer to international one. It's closer to the idea of sharing, of being together, of discussing something in international style. I think in this case, we are moving closer to the idea of teaching modern English, not simple English. Yeah. So pretty much, I think that's about it. That's what I have time for. After that, yeah, after this, we move to this so-called breaking the ice questions, which is where I'm from, how was your flight? Yeah, so still before that, I do believe that we need to teach our students to use small talk, to play this ping pong game. So that was my part. It was very spontaneous and sporadic, yeah. So you love my hairstyle. Thank you. And if you have any comments, questions, you're more than welcome. If you agree with me or not, but this is really what helped me to form groups better and to make my travelings, you know, better and with much more networking contacts after I arrive. Thank you. Rob.
Hi, good. Very good. First thing, before I forget, can you change me back to host, please?
Oh, yeah.
My big finger hit host instead of co-host. Great. That's good. Thank you. That was excellent. And yeah, it's small talk is so important. It's funny because the majority of the times you get called in for as a business English teacher and they say, I can't speak English. And they can speak their job, but they don't know what to say outside of the meeting. So small talk is great, and it's good that you focus on it. And do we have any questions? Any?
Yeah, I see some comments. Yeah. Thank you very much, my dear colleagues, because I wasn't sure if it's what you need, but at least that's, you know, that's what I always do when I start my lessons or my programs with any new audience. Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I came to Moscow to meet you last time, so you have to come to Poland the next time, all right?
Oh, I'd love to. When is going to be possible? Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome anytime. All right.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
So I just want to remind everybody that materials will be shared on the Telegram channel. So make sure you go to Telegram and get all that. The videos will be uploaded later, I'm sure after Elena has a bit of a rest. And let me find our next speaker. All right. If my mouse will work. Okay, so Eleonora, I have made you a co-host, so you can turn on. Hello.
Hello, dear colleagues. Hopefully you can see me and hear me.
We can see you, we can hear you. And why don't you try sharing your slides to make sure they're okay.
So can you see my presentation?
Yes, I can. And just move forward and backwards real quickly because people were complaining they had a problem.
Okay. So if it's okay, hi, thank you very much for greeting me. So good morning, dear colleagues. And today I'm going to talk about teaching reading for Cambridge exams, KET, PET, FC, and I'd like to focus on FC mainly and PET because they are the most challenging exams, and teaching on the high levels, becomes quite tiring and dull because we get used to playing with our kids. Still, they are young, but when they become older, you don't know what to do with this text. If you agree with me, just put a plus in the chat. Because we have to make it more engaging. And in case you don't know me, my name is Eleonora Kruzhkova. I'm a teacher trainer. I run my own English school and online school, and I'm a blogger. I blog about ELT and try to share some useful tips with you in my Instagram. So the first question is, what do you think is which task do you think is the most challenging for your students? Put a number in the chat, please. Is it reading for gist? Is it reading for details? Is it multiple choice? Or maybe multiple matching when we have to match teenagers and books, for example, they would like? Yeah, so definitely 2 and 3 are one of the most challenging tasks. And they, apart from all these, they are most boring, I would say, for our students because the texts are not that exciting, So in terms of teaching interactive reading, I would like to say that it's a real life skill because every time we consume the information, we have to read, we have to understand, and we have to get the meaning, and we have to teach our students to get the meaning of words and sentences. And not in, in Cambridge exam, in terms of Cambridge exam, there are a lot of distractors. And when they see a word, they see a synonym, and they just take the answer, but it's not correct. So what can we do, and what makes teaching reading effective? At first, I'm a big fan of lexical approach and variety of activities. I use a lot of interactive tasks, and I highly recommend you to use them, and I'll share a couple of them today. Creative tasks and speaking. Thanks for the previous speaker. I really liked your presentation, and I'll take a lot of these tasks. So, Cambridge exams, multiple choice and multiple matching are the ones we're going to focus on. So look at this task. I just took a part from this. It's a part of the text and multiple choice as well, where we have to circle the correct option. What do you think? Is it teaching or testing? Please share your ideas in the chat box. In case we just read the text and choose the correct option, is it teaching or testing? Definitely testing. And in case we don't do anything but read and choose the correct option, it's just testing. How can we turn this working with text into teaching? At first, interactive reading. I always ask my students to underline the keywords. I'm definitely sure you do the same, because this makes them think. And we never read text without a pen or a pencil or commenting in Zoom or Jamboard. I'll tell you about how I use Jamboard today. So Lexis comes first. In case we do not know Lexis, we can't work with text. But we can come across the words which they don't know in this text. Shall we work with Lexis first, or shall we read the words, read the whole text and try to acquire the meaning of the words in the context? It depends. I give the part of Lexis beforehand, before the task, and then I work with Lexis while reading task. Lexical approach makes perfect. And today I had a class with my students where I asked them to underline the words which they don't know. In case you provided the certain amount of Lexis, just because you provided this, it doesn't mean they never come across more words, unfamiliar words. So what they underlined was engulfed and huddled. So what can we do next? So they don't know the word. The first intention is to tell the meaning, yeah? What else can we do? I never provide meaning immediately. I ask them to read the sentence once again and think and try to guess the meaning. And this is the best option we can do, because this makes them think. And in terms of this task, they said that we realized that it's something like cover. I said, amazing. And this is definitely cover, yeah? What is the next step? So I said, the rising season got the whole town. Okay, I said, what else can engulf the whole town? What do you think? And this is what we do in lexical approach. And they said, I think fire, yeah, amazing. And only after this work, I provide the meaning. So how can we do it? Sometimes I make a Google document and copy the meaning and the example from Longman Dictionary and insert all the unknown words, all the examples and meanings, and examples make sense in their Google document. In case I don't have time, like today, I was preparing for the conference, I have just had a class, I just make a screen from my Cambridge dictionary from my smartphone and send it to our WhatsApp chat of the group. And sometimes we work further with the labs. What else? I really like working with Jamboard. And the next step can be providing words, separate words, and ask them to restore collocations from the text. You just find the whole collocation. For example, personal, you find personal quality. After that, I put everything on Jamboard. I put the collocation apart and color and put stickers on Jamboard. The first word is yellow, the second word is green. Here, this task is already performed by my students, it's already fulfilled. They have to match the collocations in pairs. For example, reach the age, compulsory education, it will be the next step. Perhaps it will be after reading task, but it depends. In case you prefer working with Lexis, you can make it like a while reading or pre-reading task, or even the next lesson when you just want to work with Lexis. And this makes sense. After you do this task, you can get the meaning of the whole text. Put a plus in the chat if you use Jamboard. And put a minus if you don't use Jamboard, and I'll tell you why the reason why I've chosen this type of technology and not Mira. So I highly recommend you to use Jamboard instead of Mira, because here we have separate frames and each student can work in its frame. It's a part of Google instrument. And in case of Mira, we can underline, and they have to invest a lot of time in looking for a frame, finding the right place. In terms of Jamboard, they are quicker, much quicker, and they can work separately without seeing the answers of other students. So this is the reason why I use Jamboard. One more option of Jamboard, sorry, I have to be back, is they underline all the keywords, not in Mira, but on Jamboard. I don't have comments which I don't need on Mira. I use it like a board for my teaching and keep in store all the materials there I need. For example, useful tips for writing or useful tips for speaking, and I always can find the information I need. I use Jamboard for working of my students, for their personal interaction. So when I put it on Jamboard, I have a frame for each student. You know, this is a frame of my students, Diana, and I write a name. And as soon as they enter Jamboard, they find the frame with their names and just start working separately or in pairs or in groups or teams. One more task which I would like to focus on. This is multiple matching, and it's really challenging because they have to keep in mind teenagers, for example. Yes, we are offered to match teenagers and the book or a film studios which would suit every teenager. Okay, what can we do? In terms of PET, this is a task from PET. In terms of PET, what I did, I asked them, I offered them to imagine that you're one of these students. And each student I cut it to pieces. All this task was cut to pieces. Each student gets a description of a teenager. I asked them to read a paragraph. The next step was, tell about yourself. Tell us about yourself. Imagine you are, and they started talking because we need to talk when we need to understand, to get the meaning. Yes, and they told about themselves. What is the next step? Is think of the book you would like to read. So you're Nick. Which book would you like to read? And they start generating ideas. And only the next step would be sending the texts, which should be matched with their teen's personality. Can teachers see and monitor how students work individually on Jamboard? Definitely, yes. They work individually and you see every frame. You can skip from frame to frame and watch everyone. And this is what, and they do not see each other. Because on Mira, they can see each other's answers. And on Jamboard, they are not able to see each other's answers. So this is the main reason I use it for interaction. The second step is read the description. And then I put them in group, back in group. So I say, okay, now read the description of each teen and read the paragraphs and match them. So you know they are all cut to pieces and they had to drag out it on Mira board or on Jamboard. This task was done on Mira board and now I do it on Jamboard. So I used to use Mira for this. Now I do not just have things which I don't need on Mira, don't need for next task. So one of the most challenging tasks is FCE, multiple matching. And here we are offered descriptions of a person and a question about the person. And we have to match a question, something like, which person wrote a book? I used the same strategy, but a bit differently. So each student gets one description and he does not know about others' descriptions. So they are also cut to pieces. And each student reads about one person. Then I ask students to tell about what they have read, to tell about a person they've read. The second step, you realize, yes, they have a frame in Jamboard and they have only one part of the text. They read it. If it's not clear, I can show you my Jamboard. So because you can skip there. In case you don't use Jamboard, it's quite challenging to realize to get the meaning, what I'm talking about. But actually they can skip from one frame to another. To watch, to have a look at what the other students are doing, they have to skip to another frame. So, and they have a text only the text which they have to read. And after that, I ask them to put a sticker. They can make stickers on the Jamboard, and to write 2 sentences after they talked about the text, they told about what they have read. They write 2 sentences. Personally, I don't do the task like true, false. They create sentences themselves. I ask students to write 2 sentences about the person, and 1 sentence should be true, the other should be false. What is the next step? I ask students on this stage, I ask students to jump from Jamboard to Jamboard and to read all the texts and to read the questions to the sentences of his partner and put plus in case it is true and F or minus in case it's false. The idea is, as soon as they start generating sentences or making questions about the text themselves, they start thinking. Not just answering questions, they start thinking of the text and their brain starts work. Then they put a plus and a minus. What we get? Actually, they've read the whole task. As soon as they skipped from Jamboard to Jamboard, they got the idea of the whole task. And the next step is pair work. I provide the whole task on Jamboard. It is in the other frame, and they put them in pairs in breakout rooms and ask them to make multiple matching. So they know they have already made reading for gist, they have already talked, so they know the meaning of the text and what was the result of all this work for my students. Actually, I had no mistakes in these tasks. As soon as I started working like this, with this part of the test. So I know that I'm short of time today, and I have no time to tell you some speaking maybe tips, but I have a present to all participants. If you still haven't got an ELT guide of 5 strategies speaking and storytelling, you can just contact me on Instagram and write the word speak in my Instagram, and you'll get it in a minute immediately, and you'll get the practical tips for teaching, speaking, and storytelling. So hopefully I'm in time today. And in case of any questions, don't hesitate to drop me a line. And if you want me to show Jamboard, so I'm ready to do it. I mean the tools of Jamboard.
Very good. Well, you have a few minutes left. Have you stopped sharing your screen? And do you have any questions? Here we go.
I left some time in case you need
Yep.
to have a look at Jamboard. I can show. Thank you very much.
Okay, I forgot. Everybody turn on your camera and clap. I'm supposed to do that.
Thank you very much. No questions only.
Great. Well, if you have a question, raise your hand, type in the chat. Remember, all the materials and everything will be shared on the Telegram channel, and the videos will be available. How am I doing, Alana? Good? Am I hired?
So this is the Jamboard if you need, yes? And this is what we were doing today. And this is the text, and you can put the whole text. This is the underlining they made. And here you can have some tools like drawing, maybe erasing, and they skip from frame to frame. This is Nastya, this is Misha. You know, each student has its personal frame, and they do not see each other, and the text is for everyone. I use it like board, and they can underline and talk together or work in pairs. So this is how it works, in case it wasn't clear from the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Eleonora. And please, I don't know if you know that we are sharing our slides and any useful information with the participants in Instagram or in Telegram chat.
Okay.
The slide is here, and it's also in the document which you have as a speaker, that Google Doc.
So to send the presentation there, yeah?
Yeah, that would be good. Great, yeah. So if you are ready to share, yeah.
Yeah,
so.
I'm ready to share, but if I forget, just remind me where to share.
Yeah, here is a link. Okay, and they'll send you directly on Instagram. Okay, and so it's time to say thank you to Rob for his hosting the conference. Okay, can everyone turn on your videos, please, and let's give Rob a round of applause. Okay, thank you. More than 700 people are registered for our spontaneous event today. 16 speakers got ready for their slides and talks. Well, like it took them only a couple of hours, and more than about 300 people have been here today with us. You know, at times, well, you can see like how many people are, a little bit more than 100, but different times. So people come and go. 295 people have already been here with us. And we are going to have today 4 hosts, Rob and me, we are done. Okay, we have finished our watch. Okay, and now I want to introduce Julia Blinova. Julia will be your host for the next couple of hours, and then she will pass it over to Evgeny Usachov, who will join us at 3 p.m. And Rob, can you please make Julia a host?
Already done.
She's already a host. Okay. So thank you, guys. Thanks, everyone. So let's go on with our conference. Thank you.
Hey, Elena, thank you very much for the introduction. Rob, thank you for hosting your part. My name is Julia Blinova, and as Elena has said, I'm going to be your host for the next couple of hours. So I would like to thank all of you for being here with us today and supporting our idea. I would like to thank the speakers for presenting their ideas on such a short notice. That's amazing. So I would like to remind you that all the materials are going to be on our Telegram chat. You can find the link in the chat box in Zoom. All the materials, the slides, and useful information can be found there. So please join. And in a little bit, we are going to be ready to welcome our next speaker, Natalya Ivanova. I can see that she's already here. Welcome, Natalya.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I think everything is working. So would you like to try sharing your slides with us to check that everything is okay?
Let's check, yeah. Okay, so can you see them?
Okay, we can see your screen. So I suppose you have to put your presentation into the presentation mode.
What about this? Can you see it now?
Okay. It's the same for me. Nothing has changed.
The trick is just to stop sharing
and share again.
Yeah, so for some reason we are experiencing this kind of problem with every speaker today.
I think it's a Zoom issue actually, so.
Can you see the slides now?
Well, I can still see your screen, unfortunately, and not the presentation in the presentation mode.
No, you can see the slides and
everything that is around the slide.
I think it's okay because I have no any animation and not a lot of printed words. So maybe the pictures, and because there is a problem and I can't use the presentation mode while presenting. via Zoom, unfortunately.
Okay, well, I think that's not such a big deal. What is important that you are here with us. So, dear participants, what do you think about welcoming Natalya a little bit earlier? You can welcome her with the Zoom reactions, and I'm encouraging you to do that, and with smileys in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much for your introduction, Yara, and such a warm welcome. Yeah, and I'm here today to share with you my ideas of how to use dictations in the classroom. Before I start my talk, I would like to tell you a little story about myself. So actually, I have very sweet memories about my school years, and I really enjoyed going into the school. But there was one thing which I was scared of, and it was not the headmaster, it was a dictation. We used to write lots of dictations during our Russian language classes and English classes, and I always felt like stressed and scared, and of course my results were not very good, although my compositions and other classworks were excellent. So the problem was in this word dictation. So when I became a teacher, I thought that maybe I shouldn't use any dictations in my class, because I didn't want to bring any tense, any stress, or any fear into my classroom. So I wanted my students to enjoy the lessons and to feel comfortable during the lessons. But also I knew and I realized that dictation itself is a very good activity, because it helps a lot develop your students' listening skills, and also it helps a lot in practicing writing, actually spelling, how to spell the words. And so I started thinking, what should I do to bring the dictation in the class, but transform it somehow that it is not so fierce and scary for the kids in my classroom. And I found the way out. I transferred the dictation in an absolutely different activities, which are more engaging and more student oriented, and they are meaningful, which is very important. So everything began with the book I found. So this is the book I'm showing you. It is Assessing Young Learners. So, and in this book I found by chance, I was looking through the pages, and I came across a very interesting activity, which appeared to be a so-called hidden dictation. So you can see the picture from this book here on your screen, I hope. And the task the children have, so they look at the dishes on the table, and they try to think what can they see, and they call the words out. If you could, please, you may also type into the chat, what can you see on the table? What dishes? It's going to be a birthday party, and so everything is ready. And after we revise all the words, I also may show a list which is hidden here, and we may match the words with the pictures if it is necessary. And what happens next? When the children went out for a second, two came in, and now everything is in a mess. And now guests are coming, and we have just half an hour before the party, and now we need to make a shopping list and to run into the shop to decide what to buy. And the kids look at the table, which is in the mess, and they try to recall what was there on the previous picture, and they write a list of products they need to buy. By the way, you may also try to think what the kids need to buy at the moment. And after that activity, I collect the pieces of paper with their shopping lists and check them and mark them. So actually it was a dictation, but kids, they had like, this was a meaningful activity for them, and they didn't realize that I was trying to assess them and to see if they know how to spell the words or not. So this activity helped me a lot, and I started thinking, what else can I do, to bring something interesting in the classroom, instead of ordinary classical dictations. And so now I would like to share with you 3 activities which are very popular among my primary school kids. And they are all based on very famous games like bingo, what's missing, and another activity which is called a shopping list. So I'm sure you know, and perhaps a lot of you use these activities in your classrooms, but I transferred them into dictations. I'll show you how I did it. Okay, so usually the game, what is missing, is used on a revision stage, when you want to revise the vocabulary you've already studied, so kids know what are the words, their meanings, how to pronounce them, and how to spell them. And now I need to check, I need to assess them. So I put the cards on the board, or if I work online, then this, I can show my presentation, and I ask the kids to, I tell them, so let's see who is the most attentive person in the class today. And they have a minute to look at the words on the screen. And then I ask them, please close your eyes, and I cover one of the words. So they open their eyes, and I tell them, okay, so please put number 1 on a piece of paper and write what is missing now. And they write, and they are not allowed to pronounce anything. Then they close their eyes again, and I cover another picture. They open their eyes, I tell them, please put number 1, number 2, and write the second word, and they do it. And in the end, when all the pictures are covered, we first check, what were the words on the list, what was number 1, which disappeared, which was number 2, number 3, and so on. And then again, I collect all these pieces of paper, and I mark them, and I see if they really know how to spell the words we've studied with them or not. Again, it was a kind of hidden dictation, so children were engaged in the activity, and it was a lot of fun for them, but not a stress. Another activity which I like a lot is my favorite, bingo. If you don't know the rules of the bingo, you may put minus in the chat, and I can explain shortly how to play it. But usually, okay, so somebody doesn't know, that's why I shortly explain. So you have a list of words, on the card. And then you call out the words one by one, and if students have the words, they cross them out. I changed a little bit this activity to transfer it into a dictation. So what I did, students have 9 words, they know them well, and I want to check the spelling. And what I do, I ask them to choose any 6 words they like from this 9 and write them down. So they choose any 6 words they like, and this is a very good activity for a mixed ability class. Of course, students with a lower level of English would choose 6 easier words, and they will be successful in writing them, which is very important. And the kids who have a high level of English, they would probably choose the most difficult words, so of course they know everything. So then the lists are ready, they have 6 words on their list. And what I do, sometimes I ask the kids, they look at the board, they see the pictures, and one by one, they name the words. And the other kids, after hearing the word, cross it out from the list they have. And again, I collect the pieces of paper, and I mark them and I see if they know how to spell the words correctly. Again, it was a kind of a game, so it was not a real dictation here, and it was fun and meaningful for them, which just I wanted, to bring into the classroom. And the last activity, it is called the shopping list, and it is not really a game. It is a game-like activity because there is a kind of a situation, and I tell that the students are going to organize a party for their classmates, and they need to buy some products for the dinner. But before that, they should find out what other kids in the class like. So first of all, kids would come up to everybody in the classroom to ask if they like cookies, or if they like mushrooms, or if they like cheese, and so on. And they have a list of preferences. After that, I give them time to make up a shopping list. And then this activity is usually followed by a role play game. So we are in the shop and we need to buy this products. But then I also collect these pieces of paper with the shopping list, and I check the spelling again, and I give the marks if necessary, or I see if we need some more time to work on it later. Okay, so these were activities for primary kids. But what shall we do with the teens? So could you please put a plus in the chat if you use dictations with the secondary school kids, with the teenagers? Actually, I do, but they would be a little bit different. Teenagers are usually motivated by 3 things. This is challenge, collaboration, and creativity. So everything starts with letter C. Challenge, collaboration, and creativity. And if you bring these things into your classroom, your teenagers are usually motivated, they are engaged, and they are into the lesson and into the activities you bring into the classroom. The same works with any activity and with the dictation as well. Okay, I'm going to share some of the ideas. Some of them may be well known to you, some of them maybe not. But anyway, one of the activities is called Listen to My Story and Write Down. So I would read a text to my students, and their task is to listen to my story and to write down, for example, all the words connected with the topic traveling, or all the words connected with the feelings, or all the words which start with the letter B, for example. It depends what I want at this moment, what we are studying at the moment, and what we are practicing. After that, so maybe I use a recording, I may use a song here, and they would write down the list listening to the song, not to me or to a recording. And then they have a chance to work in pairs, and this is a collaboration, and they discuss what they have, they compare their lists, and then we work together, look through the words, discuss them, and try to recall in what contexts these words were used. And then I would collect this, this is my favorite phrase today. I would collect these pieces of paper with the list of words, and I would check how they can write or spell the words. Very easy to do in the classroom. Another dictation is called group dictation. So this is also about collaboration and creativity as well. So student A, so the students will listen to my story, or again, it will be a recording. And student A is going, for example, to write all the nouns he or she hears. Student B is going to write the verbs, and student C is going to write the adjectives. So you may decide yourself what your students are to write, but the point is that the students have different tasks. So each of them has a different task. So they listen to the recording or they listen to me, they write down the words, and after that they have some time to work together. And now they have a list of verbs, a list of nouns, and a list of adjectives, and they need to make up a story, yeah, so to restore, let's say, to restore the story they've just heard. And this is about creativity, because they invent, they have their own sentences. Sometimes they add something into the story which was not really on the recording. But of course, after that, we check here the ideas, we discuss them, we may listen again. And so in the end, they would have the real text they've just heard. And also, this is the kind of a dictation here, because I can anytime look through what has been written and mark the spelling. Okay. Another dictation is called an opposite dictation, and this is one of my favorite, one of my favorite dictations. So if you would like, you may participate. I would like to show how it works. So usually the teacher reads a short text, and the students should write the opposite things. For example, if I say, for example, his name is Jack, the students should write, for example, her surname is Johnson. If you got an idea, it works like that. For example, if you would like, you may write your idea how the sentence in the opposite dictation would be look like. And the sentence is, every night she sits with me and watches TV. Okay, so every night she sits with me and watches TV. So if you share your ideas in the chat, I would be happy to find out what you have. And so I'm dictating, students are writing the opposite things, and then they, for example, play on any, okay. They read the text they have, and it is a real fun. It's all about creativity. And after that, I ask them to restore and to rewrite the text again so that they have an initial version. So how it was at the beginning. One more dictation, which is a very collaborative. This is called pair dictation. I show the students a list of words, and they have 2 minutes to look at the words, and they try to memorize them. Of course, these words are not new to them. So these are the words which we've already studied here, and this is like a revision here in this case. So they look at the words, and then words disappear, and the students work individually, and they try to recall the words which were on the board. So they write everything from the memory, and then they work in pairs, and they compare what they have. And after that, they look at the list again, they check themselves, as if everything is correctly spelled, if they have all the words from the list, and so on. And again, I have a chance to collect the pieces of paper and to check their works and to see if they know how to spell them or not. And the last two activities I would like to share. So very similar. The one is called jumbled sentence dictation. So each student has a sentence, and the words in the sentence are jumbled. You can see the boy is holding the card, and it is written, breakfast, miss I never. And the task is, the students go around the class. This is like a mingle activity. And if you work online, you just send this sentence personally to every student in your class. And they dictate the sentences as they have them on the cards, like breakfast, miss I never. And the partner is listening attentively, and the partner should write the correct sentence. And the sentences I never miss breakfast, for example. Yeah, so they go around the class, they mingle, they dictate the sentences to each other, and after that, yeah, we see what they have, we check, and so on. So this activity is very, yeah, it's about collaboration, and it is about challenge as well. Yeah, because you should hear all the words and understand, yeah, in what order to put them. Okay, and the last activity, yeah, which is very similar to the previous one, but it is called jumbled story dictation. And I think you've already understood what it is about. In this case, students have the sentences from a short story. So I have a short story, and each student has a sentence from the story. And the students one by one dictate, yeah, what they have on their cards, and other students write the sentences down, and after that they try to put the sentences in order so that there is a real story. Yeah, okay, so these were some of the ideas, yeah, I usually use with my teenagers and primary students in classes, and they really change all this fear into joy. And this is very important for me because I wanted my kids to feel successful, yeah, to love their English lessons, yeah, and this is the way out, yeah, and how you can transfer, let's say, in inverted commas, boring, yeah, and the classical dictations into a meaningful activities, but with the same teaching purpose. Yeah, and I have a question to you. Yeah, please type into the chat what type of dictation you are going to use next time. It's very interesting to find out which one you like the best. Yeah, and thank you very much once again. Yeah, there are some links to my VK and to Instagram. And yeah, I see that opposite dictation Svetlana is going to try, and that's really great. Thank you very much, Julia.
Natalya, thank you very much for the presentation and for making dictation, I don't know, fun again, I suppose. I think that everybody will agree that we can take the time of the break for you to answer a couple of questions, if you are ready.
Yeah, if there are any questions, of course.
Okay, the question that we have in the chat is, how can teachers check kids' written work if they're teaching online?
I usually, so when I work with primary kids, yeah, I do not ask them to type anything. We just use pieces of paper, they write on the pieces, and then they make a photo, and we have a class chat in WhatsApp, so they send their works into the chat and I check them. Yeah, and there are some other possibilities here. You may use a Jamboard, for example, where each student has his or her own page and they type the words there. But for primary kids, it could be a little bit challenging. Yeah, for teenagers, it is okay, and we use Zoom chat to write the sentences, or the same, yeah, just write on the pieces of paper, take a picture and send it to the teacher. Yeah, like this.
Okay, I see. Well, sounds really doable, and you don't need anything extra or that is not free of charge to use this. And what do you think about dicta clause? Do you use it? Who, with, how, if you do?
I used it once or twice. Yeah, so I think it works well. The only thing, you should explain properly how to do this and to give instructions, maybe just one by one, not all together. Yeah, so that students can understand, yeah, what to do. And also the more times, let's say, you do it, the better it is. Yeah, like so from the first time it can be a little bit like not messy, but there would be some problems. Yeah, so don't give up, try again. Yeah, like this.
Yeah, I agree. It can be great fun, really. And have you ever, well, if you work or worked with adults, or maybe you know colleagues who work with adults, can dictation be used with the grown-ups, or is it better suited for children?
I think it is possible, yeah, to use dictations with adults. Yeah, why not? And the same activities as for teenagers would be suitable for adults classes. Like you may ask them to write the opposites, you may dictate the sentences which are the parts of the story, yeah, and then they put them in order and so on. Yeah, so it's absolutely I don't know, useful. Yeah, you can do it, yeah, with the adults. Why not?
Okay, Natalya, again, thank you so much for the presentation and for answering the questions. Dear participants, if you have more questions to Natalya, you can share them in the chat box and we'll make sure to pass them on. And now I would like to ask you to turn on your cameras and give a round of applause as a thank you for Natalya taking her time on Saturday to be here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julia, and goodbye.
Bye, have a good day. As for us, we have a bit of an issue with our next speaker. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it. So it just means that we'll have to go to lunch earlier. I suppose that's not a bad thing. Just before you go, let me remind you that you can find all the speakers' slides, useful information, the videos in their Telegram chat. I think you'll be able to see the link in the chat box in a bit. So please join, you'll find all the information there. And now let's enjoy a lunch break. And I think we're going to come back. Let me check. We're going to come back at 1:45, so 1:45, with a talk by Yulia Svetikova. So please join us then. And for now, enjoy your lunch and I'll see you very soon.